educating Ricky.
Right.
Brilliant. Go. Right.
So-
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Educating Ricky.
Right, what we going for then? Hanging the bacon, airy Chinese kid, alien gives man a beard.
I think Alien gives man a beard.
I'd like to do that.
Right, there's this fella, I think it happened in America, and he saw a bright light in the sky. And,
God, if you're bored.
and he stood there.
This is a true story, is it?
Yeah. He stood there,
Yes, of course it isn't, Steve.
and he saw this bright light, and it came closer and closer, and it was a UFO, right?
Yep.
And he looked at it, and it disappeared, right? And he gets back in his car,
He looks in the mirror.
and he looks in the mirror.
Yep.
He's only got a beard.
He has.
You sure it wasn't someone else who got in the car and he was still standing out there?
Right?
What?
And it turned out,
Yeah.
he got home and said to his wife or his girlfriend, it's a bit weird. So I just got out of the car to look at a bright light, and I got back in the car and I grew a beard, and she said, never mind your beard, where have you been for 3 days? And what had happened is,
He passed out because he was pissed.
no, the UFO had taken him for 3 days,
Yeah.
but he'd only thought that he'd only looked at it and it went away.
Yeah.
But what had happened is, it took him, and he grew a beard because he hasn't had a shave.
Right, okay. I mean, was Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones anything to do with this at all? Did you see this on a video maybe and thought it was an educational film?
No, it's from a book that some kind person sent in to me. Here.
Can I just ask again? Just again. I'm just throwing this right back at you. Do you think there's any other possible answer here? Right? A man is absent for 3 days from home.
He's grown
the
a
length
beard.
of time that it could take to grow a beard, lest we forget. What if he hadn't actually seen a bright light in the sky?
What if he was
he'd been
lying? What if
drunk?
he was lying?
He'd got knocked unconscious. He'd had a car crash.
Just
any
lying.
other
No,
thing.
just lying.
Or he was just lying.
Yeah, he'd been on a bender, getting pissed for 3 days
And that
with
was
his
his
mates.
excuse to his wife.
And they went, Dennis, what are you going to tell your wife?
Well, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
You're not going to believe I was out with you, lads.
Just say you're away for a minute. No, I wasn't away from it because of the beard. Oh yeah, look, it looks like you've been out for 3 days. Well, we have. That's
Exactly.
right. Okay, we've got to cover that then. Alien abduction.
Great one.
Okay, let's try that.
Do you see? That's a little scenario there that could have been played out.
So when you say educating Ricky, what have I learnt from this? Never listen to you again. That's all I've learnt so far. Never listen to you.
Yeah, we'll add a little bit more in here, right? To
Well,
spice this
no.
up.
What do you mean? Add a little bit more.
We'll add a bit more to this. What I'm educating you about,
Go on.
right? There's only a law in America that says if you touch a UFO, you're going to get done. Now, why would they make a rule? I don't know that. Do you know, like all their rules have a code?
Carl, I genuinely do not know what you're talking about.
Right? Do you know, like how here they might have?
Do you know
I
what?
have no idea.
Right,
Okay.
Do you know, like over here?
I'm listening to Capital and these headphones. I got Foxy on yesterday.
Right, let's bin that.
No, wait, it's great. No,
I want to hear about Airy Chinese Kid.
let's play a tune. and
Okay,
let's come
play a
back with
tune.
Airy
Come back with Chinese
Play
Kid,
that-
definitely.
Some doors.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought I'd go back, take it back to the 60s. This is a tune that a friend of mine sent
If
me.
you touch a UFO, you get done.
Soul Kitchen from The Doors.
Shambles today. This.
David Bowie, Slow Burn. Quite a Eno trilogy
Yeah,
feel
not bad
about
at
it.
all,
Lodger
yeah. Is
and
it a
sort of
neutral?
low type, yeah. But yeah.
Enjoyable.
Now, okay. That's stressful, isn't it? I think we've got things working now. We've had people coming in and out, just shaking their head, going, "Shouldn't have bought that desk." But it's all sorted now, I think. And
You notice how it took
sorry.
about
What?
25 minutes for them to come down as well, though? Do you feel like we're maybe quite low in the pecking order in the building?
Definitely.
You know, it's like Capital First, Capital Gold. They can shoot off to other sort of pirate stations.
Yeah.
People's car radios, then they come back here.
Oh dear. Oh, I had a job at Richard Sounds.
Yeah.
Light fitting was buzzing. Now, but we've got. Thanks for staying, listening. Right, okay. Educating Ricky. What have we got? Airy Chinese Kid. Go on.
Right, yeah. This is the. I didn't want to do this.
Do you want to do it?
Well, I wanted to give you three, and I gave you one. It was like the alien man gets a beard or whatever.
Yeah. Which was total rubbish. So this one should be better, maybe.
Hairy Chinese kid. Right. Well, we've talked about hairy people in the past.
True enough.
Haven't we?
Yeah.
You know, the little kids who grew up in woods and hung around with wolves and that.
Yeah, again, you're confusing it. Yeah, there were some people that were born very hirsute. They were not the people who were brought up with wolves. You just put that together in your Homer Simpson type mind.
Right, well, this is like a sort of close to that sort of story. But the weird thing is, right, Chinese people aren't that hairy as a nation. No, seriously, that's a well-known fact. They don't have that much body hair and stuff.
Okay.
So this little kid who was born over there, he was like covered in stuff.
Was he?
And it was only his nose that wasn't hairy. The rest of his body was caked in hair, right? And his hair sort of
What
grew.
sort of hair was it? Was
thick hair.
No, what I mean is, was it sort of like a pony's mane? So he just looked like an Ewok. You know what I mean? Just like hanging down, sort of straight, dark hair.
In the picture, it looked like it grows from his eyebrow. It grows from his eyebrows quite thick, and then it just goes all the way over.
You
his
don't think
head.
it was just really long eyebrows that he'd done a comb over?
No, it was all over his body. It had a picture of like his back and that.
Yeah.
And
Had he styled it? Had he styled it at all? Did he have it a quiff or?
no, it was just
hanging everywhere.
all over him.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know, this is a bit weird happening in China, where we're not normally that hairy.
That was the scientist speaking there.
Yeah.
And the local press and that were getting him down, calling him monkey boy and all this.
Oh,
And
thinking Chinese press.
but the doctor,
Yeah. Oh.
They're cruel, aren't they? It's like those game shows. That's Japanese, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
and the doctor said,
I was talking through all that time while we were just like talking to each other then. Because I turned round and I still saw he was talking. Go
So
on.
anyway, the local press came in to see the hairy boy, the monkey
yeah, and
boy.
they were like being tight, taking the mickey out of him, and the doctor said
Showing him nuts.
he's only hairy. Said he's a healthy young kid. The only faults he's got is he's got a little bit of eczema and a boil. And he said everybody should just treat him the same, and I think he grew up a healthy kid. Yeah, so that's the
That's
the end of the story.
that's not a story.
why.
But I've got nothing. I don't know what to say to that. So someone in China was born slightly hairier than the rest, and he was normal apart from eczema and a boil. That to me isn't a story. But if it is, I've got a million. I mean, it's sort of like bloke from Manchester went a bit bolder than the rest, got a job on radio. He was normal. I mean, that's not a story, is it? Do you know what I mean?
All right then.
Hang on.
Hold on, he's got the big guns. You're not going to give us hanging bacon, are you?
Yeah.
Come on then, come on.
This is
Come
the one we've been
on,
looking
come
forward
on.
to. This is it.
No, this is a good one.
This is the one.
And this is a story, right? Do you know the saying, chewing the fat?
Good one. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
Talking.
Right. Well, do you know where it came from?
No.
Right. What they used to do years ago, when people didn't have much money.
Is this the same as throwing the baby out of the bathwater?
No, it's not. It's not the same saying. But
No, but I mean, is it as wrong as that
Well,
was?
let me tell you. We'll
Go on.
see.
Okay.
Like people go out to work, and with the money, they'd buy food.
Oh yeah, go on. This is a good system. What? Go on. What do you mean? People go out to work and with the system.
And
Well, go on.
if you were quite well off, you might treat your family to some bacon, right? But do you know, like in these days, if people earn a lot of money, they might buy a nice suit or a car.
Yeah, so what are you saying? You're saying wait, let me get this straight. You're saying that you go out to work and get money to buy things to live, and if you get sort of enough money to live and you've got some left over, you might treat yourself on like a suit or a car or something. Is that what you're...
Yeah.
Oh,
But
go on.
Sometimes.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's get some bacon in, right? And what they'd do, they'd hang it in the kitchen
Or to show it off.
to show it off to all the neighbours and friends. Because if you had hanging bacon, it was like he's doing all right for himself.
Yeah.
Some lovely bacon.
So he had loads of bacon hanging up, and people would come round, right? And whilst they stood in the kitchen talking about whatever they're talking about,
in olden times.
they'd say, "Do you want a bit of rind?" And they'd rip a little bit of rind off, and whilst they're having a chit chat,
Chewing the
they'd
fat.
chew on the rind.
Well, I think that's probably true. I
I'd
haven't
say-
heard that, but that one to me sounds true. Do you see the difference between that one and a man was abducted and grew a beard? Can you see the difference in
Yeah, but
why I
different-
accept that
different-
story?
Different stories for different things.
different stories for different things. So, see, that's a nice story. If it's true, I don't know if it's true. I mean, but it seems totally possible, viable, quite interesting. I won't be quoting that myself until I've verified it. But that's, you know, I won't be telling anyone the bloke got in the car and he had a full-faced beard. Why has his car been towed away?
Because it was a quiet road.
Was it?
Wasn't in the way. So.
Are you filling in the blanks again? That wasn't in the book, was it, that you read? See, this is the thing. Sometimes I think you make up bits of the story as though they were fact. That doesn't seem right.
Well, that's all you can do, innit? So that's educating Ricky. Will we
Brilliant.
do that next week?
That is brilliant.
No, I think that was good. I did. I mean, I enjoyed that. I learned something from that.
I mean, I want to get I mean, this is all from one book, is it?
Yeah.
That's an interesting book.
With the I don't want to dwell on it, but with the hairy Chinese kid, what did they say about that? What was the, I mean, was it once there was born a kid who was slightly more hairy than everyone else, but yeah, it's all right. He only had a boil. How did they word it? How did this capture your imagination?
There was
It was a picture that grabbed me first of all.
Sure.
And it was like, God, what's up with him? And that's when I read it.
Did you see the boil and the eczema, or just the hair?
No, you see, because his face is like, just under his eyes is sort of nice and smooth, and his nose is sticking out, and that's not hairy. But the rest of him, it looked like he had the sort of a balaclava on or something. And then I read on, and it's like, this is a hairy kid in China.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anything else in there? Because I mean, I like that.
We'll do more of that next week.
How is that alongside hanging bacon, alien abduction, a hairy Chinese kid, and a little interesting fact about the derivation of a phrase?
What do you mean?
He didn't understand a word of that. I knew the word derivation was going to cause problems. I thought derivation shouldn't have come out.
No, I wasn't disputing. He's all smug because he's had a phone call. That was Beck, lost cause. Go on, tell him why you're all smug.
Because Adrian just called up.
Yeah.
After hearing the story about the Chinese kid.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, that's true. He said that there was a TV programme on it.
Yeah.
He had a chromosome defect.
Yeah.
And it made him hairy. And his mum and dad used to have to shave him. That wasn't in the book. But thinking about it, that's not a good move anyway, is it? Because they say that for women. If you get a few hairs on your top lip, don't shave it because it'll grow back thicker and faster. So
they should have just let him be.
They should have just said, well, let's see how bad it gets. But if they went in there straight away if he came out as a baby and a little bit hairy, they should have left it maybe, for a little bit. But Adrian called up and said, yeah, he was hairy, he was
but
alright.
we weren't disputing there was a Chinese kid born slightly hairier than the rest.
We were disputing the fact that you didn't actually tell us a story. You just told us a
And what we are disputing is that man was abducted by aliens for 3 days and grew a beard. Yeah. That's definitely not true.
No.
We don't know about chewing the fat, but it sounds quite viable. Yeah. You see, the difference is between me and Steve and you is that what we believe isn't random. Do you know what I mean? It's not random. The things that
we don't believe stuff just because it's interesting.
It's not every other thing we believe and every other thing we don't.
I think can't believe stuff if it's interesting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
If he thinks, oh, intriguing.
And he said to me on the before he got him, he said, that Ollie's record, Ian Evie's my brother, what's that about then? And I went, I don't know, I heard, it was about someone who has a disabled brother, and it was lifting him in and out of a car or something, and someone said, oh, do you want a hand? And he went, no, he's not heavy, he's my brother. I.e., this isn't a burden for me.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Carl, what did you say?
I'd say...
No, I'll tell you what he said. He went, that's ridiculous, he was still heavy. And he said, don't turn down help.
Which, we were talking about that, because a new feature we're starting about this time every week.
Oh, yeah.
We start about this time every week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do... that song's got a good story.
Okay.
Yeah, love it, snappy. Go on.
There's loads of songs out there, isn't there, with songs that you couldn't fade out. When you hear them on the radio and that, you don't want anyone to talk over the start or the end.
Yeah. Because but remember we did this one before with Killing a Georgie by Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
And I was a bit worried that it might have been a true story because we were, joking about it. And he went, oh, you know that Killing a Georgie? He went, I think it is a true story. I went, why? He went, I listened to it again. and Rod Stewart at the beginning says, "This is one of my best friends." It's brilliant, isn't it? It's genius.
So there's loads of songs out there, and what I want to do, we want to get the audience involved in this. So if you've got like a favourite song that's got a really good
if you've got an audience, yeah, go on.
And they email in ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk and they say what the song is now.
What would examples be then?
Examples, ones that jump to mind straight away for me: Elvis, In the Ghetto.
Yeah, good one.
Brilliant.
Andrew Gold, Lonely Boy.
Absolutely.
Don't know that one.
Eminem, Stan.
Right. Yeah. Good one. You couldn't fade it out, could you? Because you go, well, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. Not just any sort of pop song that keeps repeating itself, and you know, it's like it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it skips or you know what I mean. If you turn the radio off.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about
Ernie,
songs.
the fastest milk resort.
Yeah, that is a good story. That is a good story. Oh,
Yeah.
do you know that one?
Yeah. It's a story. Yeah.
Ted from Teddington. He drove the baker's van.
Well.
So what have we got then? Have we got one?
So we're going to kick it off today with Stevie Wonder, "Living Just Enough for the City."
Okay.
And just
Sum
briefly.
it up. Right,
Yeah.
if you haven't, if you are nipping out, maybe you're in the car and you're about to pull up somewhere and get out. What it's all about is a lad who's growing up in like America in some rough area, right? And he's trying his best to do well and get a job and everything, but because of where he's from, he's stopping him doing that, right? It's like how I grew up on an estate in Manchester. I had to leave there and come to London to do all right for myself,
Yeah.
right? And it's his whole family, and it's a tale of like how his mum works dead hard and works loads of hours, but the kids are always well dressed and cleaned. It doesn't mean just because you haven't got a good job you let your house run down. Do you know what I mean? She's looking after it. The sister, you know, she hasn't got new clothes, but they're always clean, and her knees are clean, I think it says in one point.
Good. Excellent. Clean knees, always important.
So will we give it a listen? Let everyone
Brilliant,
hear
it's
it?
a
Well, I
great
don't
track.
think Stevie can do it justice. After that explanation.
Right, so
I'm not sure he's
I
going
hope
to
he
top
uses
that.
like some sort of like backing tune to try and.
Try and pep it up a bit, 'cause
Yeah.
you have really knocked it the
So-
socks off
so-
it.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to the clean
here we go
knees.
then. It's a new feature.
What is it called again?
The story in that song's really good. Here's Stevie Wonder.
Go on then, Carl. Back announce that. It's your choice, that.
Right, songs with good stories that you can't fade out.
Although you can heavily edit them. For
Yeah, I
them.
noticed you didn't play the full version, which
No,
has
it's
obviously
radio,
got the
eh?
complete story in. You've just played a
I haven't heard the other. That's
single
all I
version
know.
of- well, in the album version,
He gets
goes to jail.
abducted. He gets abducted as well, and he comes back with a big beard.
Yeah, and he's
No.
covered in hair. No,
No.
he gets arrested and goes to jail. But it's just it's just because he gets picked up because he's black and he hasn't done anything wrong. There's a whole other
never heard that
sort
one.
of section.
Maybe we should change this section.
No, what we'll do, right?
Abridged versions of songs.
Yeah.
No, next week we'll play the second bit, and it'll be like Star Wars or something like that. Brilliant.
Doves. Caught by the River on XFM 104.9. Well, it's been a good show, hasn't it? There's been sort of like quite a rock and roll 70s feel to it, mainly the equipment. But we got through it. Carl's been telling us some great insights into his mind, really. We've had a few laughs, a few tears. Bit stressful. What were you telling me in the week about when you went to visit your dad in hospital?
Oh, we're talking about yeah, me when I got back off holiday, my dad was in hospital. I shot back to see him, see how he's getting on, and hospitals are depressing places, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really, like, God, you know, you know, even if you're not that ill, it makes you feel worse.
Yeah. Nurses.
And my dad was like,
Political.
Yeah.
it's
High five.
Satire.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I would like to be
Yeah,
the
they get paid enough and all that, and they do
Oh.
like.
no, well, that's
Tony
what I mean.
Blair, are you listening?
I don't want to look like I'm moaning about the people working because they all work really hard.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah.
But it's just
God bless
the hard depressing places.
High five.
Nice one,
Go
nice
on.
one.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm sat there, and my dad's getting fed up, and
Is that because you're visiting?
just he's quite an active bloke, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's
Yeah,
got
like
to stay
me.
in bed, and
Yeah.
you know, it's like sit down, stop moving about, and all this. So he's sat there, and there's an old woman in the bed next door, right, and she's she's in a bad way anyway.
Yeah.
Right. She must have been. She'd looked about. I'd say she looked about 98 or something like that.
Okay, good.
Right. Now I don't know what was wrong with her, but she was always constantly moaning, and you could see that the nurses were trying their best to keep her happy, and she wasn't having any of it. And